Today in class, we learned that the absolute value is the distance that a number is away from 0 on the number line. We looked at some simple examples that we will do again right now. The first is that the absolute value of 2. If we look up on our number line, we see that 2 is exactly 2 units away from 0. So the absolute value of 2 is 2. If we look at the absolute value of negative 2, we see that this is also 2, because negative 2 is also 2 units away from 0. In class, we actually talked about it that the absolute value bars are like a shower stall. If you go in clean, you'll come out clean. But if you go in dirty, you'll still come out clean. So let's look at another example. What would you predict the absolute value of negative 4 would be? Well, let's look at the number line. Negative 4 is exactly 4 units away from 0. What's the other value that is exactly 4 units away from 0? If you said positive 4, you're correct. The absolute value of positive 4 is also 4. Now, let's take a look at the Algebra 2 definition of absolute value. Again, if you aren't truly understanding the Algebra 2 definition, that's okay. You don't need to know it this year. But I want to expose you to it so that way when you get to it next year, it might make a little more sense. So the Algebra 2 definition is the absolute value of x equals x if x is greater than or equal to 0. This is saying that if x is positive or 0, whatever you put into the absolute value is going to come out the exact same number. Now, if we put in x to the absolute value bars, but this time we're going to have x be less than 0 or a negative number, it's actually going to come out as a negative value or the opposite. In fact, a negative sign, many times in higher math classes, will actually mean the opposite. So if we put in a negative number to the absolute value bars, it's going to come out the opposite of what it was. So, for example, when we put in a negative 2, it came out the opposite, or a positive 2, up here.